Hi there, welcome back. This is Chris. Okay, so parts that we've done so far are that, and that. Oh, and that, yeah. Actually, we haven't done this one yet, so I'll just deselect that. So we've done these ones. And, oops. Let's move these over here. Okay, just delete them. We can see that we currently have as our base towers this little group here left to do. Now, if you haven't followed along in the modelling phase, there's a couple of things to take note of here. Okay, one, all three of these are exactly the same model, just saved out with different names. So, fat tower, tall thin tower, yeah? That's the only difference between them. And that's it. The second thing is that there's some serious modelling errors being made with this that need to be addressed before we can actually do the unwrapping. So in one part, this is going to be quicker and easier. On the second part, we have repair work to do. Now, what I'm going to do is just open up, if I go to my backups that I have here. So I like to keep backups of my files. And I didn't. That's stupid on me, never mind. Well, we'll go with this one then, because this is actually Tower 1 anyway. Control-I. The backup I've got is film box, and I can't be bothered to import it incidentally. And I'm going to show you how we repair this file, okay? Which is surprisingly easy, because the thing is we don't need this extra piece here. If you look, it doesn't even go all the way around, which is madly annoying. So we need to fix that. So first things first, I'm just going to go over here to my modifier panel, and I'm going to start by deleting parts that we don't need. So I'll use my marquee to make sure we don't delete parts we do need as well. As you can see, we definitely need these pieces, but we definitely don't need those pieces. Okay, and we can tidy up any bits that are kind of left over in just a minute, so just hit delete. Okay, and now I can go around it and just get rid of these bits. Now you may be thinking to yourself, you know, how can we recreate this part? Especially if you're not in this for the modelling tutorial part, which is understandable if you want to learn about the whole unwrap process without wanting to learn about the modelling part. But this can come in handy, especially if you've been past a fairly duff model. In this case, I made the duff model, and probably shouldn't have done. So all I'm doing is I'm just cleaning this up, taking these apart, and in a minute we'll have our model more or less done, but with a bloody great big hole in it, as you can see. However, we can repair this in a way that we wouldn't have been able to without quite a lot of work before. So if I just grab that, just there, again making sure there's no extra polygons, and I'm just going to detach it, but I'm going to detach it as a clone. I'm not even going to give it a name. There we go. And now if I go into the rotate tool and ensure that angle snaps on, which is that little button there, I can do that, and then hold down shift and rotate it again, and click OK. And as you see, I mean, luck more than anything has led that to be 1/3 the size of the overall diameter. So I can now attach these two parts, and then if I go here to vert, Control A and weld. I'll just have a quick look over here. That's welding too many probably. Let's bring it down a bit. That should be enough, 498. Okay, and these are all now one big happy part. And if we check the windows, well, they're all okay. And we can get rid of this bottom part at the same time, like that. Okay, and maybe put in the one at the top that I accidentally deleted. There we are. And that's kind of all there is to it, really. It's Fixed. Yeah? So if I was to go over here now to my, let me think, it was tower, is it tower 2 or tower 3? Let's see. Yep, there we go. This is the one that I repaired before I passed out yesterday when I was just kind of looking at what it is we need to do. And obviously this is going to be one simplistic unwrapping job. So, or will it be? Well, let's find out. Control A, I'm just going to select everything and then deselect the parts that I don't want. Might as well make it a bit easier that way instead. Just going to deselect these parts here. Check your model frequently to make sure you haven't wiped anything out that you'd prefer to keep. So a great trick by one of my students at Animex a couple of weeks ago. It was a young lady who was wanting to get a job in the oil industry doing visualization, and she well, basically she coloured the material black, yeah, so made it a black edit poly here, made it a black colour rather, and then applied white material to it so that basically the edges really stood out, and it was a very impressive way of doing it. I was really taken by it actually. I keep meaning to set up and use that myself, I just haven't got around to it yet. Keep going around. And there. We'll need to make sure we've got all of them, obviously. If you need to take a break, by the way, don't forget to create yourself a selection set, maybe call it Temp 1 or something, and that way you can catch up with exactly where you were at any one given time. Just a top tip there. Now then, look at that. Okay, I'm going to have to come back and fix that in a minute, because that is going to spoil our model rather badly. However, on the plus side, we do not need, like I say, lots and lots and lots of other models. Okay, keep going around. I think that's probably just some leftover parts. It certainly looks like it. Tidying up might be a bit fun, but who knows. Okay then, so I'm going to give this a new selection set. Name, so this is selected outer. Okay, and the good thing about that is that now if I go here, I can just go grab my selected outer. Now what I want to do is have a look at this and see where I made some mistakes. I'm going to delete that. And then do a little bit of welding. Just make sure there's no polygon underneath here. Just fix this up. Then I can just cap that. It's not quite ready yet. If you look, there's still a target weld needs to take place down here. And then just cap that. Still not ready yet, look. Let's see if we can just check our vert welds. Control A. Quick weld again. Seems okay. Let's just see if we can pull these apart, because I have this nagging suspicion. Yeah, look there. That isn't connected at all. So what I'm going to do is just manually draw these across using the bridge tool. Sometimes that's the easier method. There, that seems better. And then across here. And again, you can see where we have our open door kind of polygon here. So I'll just do some manual tidying. We can see where it splits. Go straight into bridge mode. Cool. And I just want to check that because that looks, yeah, I thought as much. Can you see that? That's a broken poly just there. So you can fix that as well. We'll just go around, we should see another one. There it is, you see? Which means that this is also a broken polygon. See? There we go. If you look, we still have a couple of errors here. Basically, this didn't bridge correctly. So let's do that again. Take that out. We need it to bridge correctly. Just going to check all our edges here. You can see normally when there's a defect. No, that looks okay. Right then, so what I'm going to do is go back to my selection set, and hopefully it'll let me still select it. There we go. As you can see, there's a little bit of confusion on it because basically a lot of the parts were recreated completely from scratch. So we'll just start deselecting parts again. On the plus side, at least that fault was noticed by me and not by just a keen-eyed viewer. Dear 3D Palace, when will you ever learn? Why, oh why, oh why? That's how the email starts. Dear so-called tutor. Okay, I think we're good. Go around the outside now and just select up the parts here. Obviously deselecting those parts at the same time. Ignore back facing. Just selected that part. There we go. Shrink. Grow. Selecting things for fun and profit. So annoying the way that you can keep accidentally selecting parts you don't want, but there you go. See that? That, my dears, is an open polygon. Again. Eesh. Time to fix that one as well. Although I thought we had fixed that one. Evidently, however, not. Turn off ignore back facing. There we go, and then go over to the bridge tool. 14 minutes repairing model so far. Not bad. Not good, certainly. That corner there doesn't line up to anything, so get rid of it. There we go. And bridge. 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 There we go. Lovely. That is now fixed. Again. Eesh. Okay, what we're going to do is, again, just select the blooming lot. Shrink. There we go. Grow. Then all I need to do is deselect the tops. Why didn't you do it last time that way, Chris? Well, you know. At least this way we've got to find every fault in the model in real time. And on the plus side, we only need to find the faults in the model once, rather than doing it, you know, multiple times for all the other models. Go in there, check it all out. I think I wanted to select these as well. Seems no point not selecting them, if you know what I mean. There we go, and I'm going to call this selection set Tower Outer. There we go. Right then. Now I'm going to go to my Unwrap UVW and just go here to select by, well, open UV's editor. Move that over there and move this to here. Cool. And I want to select by polygon. Same parts are all still selected. So I'm going to do I can just get my screen the right shape. It's always the same when I have to reboot. There we are. I want to do a cylindrical unwrap, and I would like to align it to the Z-axis, like that. Then turn it off and bring it over there. Okay, and that's basically as difficult as that bit gets. And then if I select all of this, like so, and then deselect this piece, although I might try it with that part selected as well. Let's just see. What I'm going to do is do a planar map. Now I realise this looks peculiarly messy, however. I'll just turn off my UV for the minute. If I just go into my scale tool, grab the middle, which is just obviously, turn that off, this one, scale it in, and I'm going to hit grow, scale it in a little bit less, hit grow, scale it in, hit grow, scale it in. And that is basically a map of the top part of the tower, where yon crenellations will go. Okay, so now I can go to my freeform mapping. Maybe bring it down to about there. Because I have a cunning plan for this part here, so that we can maintain the textures yet. What I want to do is take these ones, approximately half, basically, of these, and just detach edge verts. And then just overlap them like that. There we go. Basically so they share the same UV space. And then I can bring them down a little bit, like that. Or what might make more sense actually is to bring everything else up like that. Yeah, that's better. And then shrink it. Grab this top part again. Make sure I've got it all, basically. Okay, so that part's got. Shrink. Shrink. There. Okay, so that's all I needed to do really for that part. And now if I take this in its entirety, I can flop it over this. What the flop? I love that term. Like so. Then bring that to about there. So there's no overlapping. Lovely. Two-part map. Just the way I like them. Now over here, where we have these windows going down, what I can do is just scale them. Change my scale to a horizontal scale. One there. One there. And then one here. Like that. Okay, and that's it. And then just close that down. Okay, our tower's looking okay. Control S. Nice. Okay, the good thing about this is that basically tower 2, 3, 4 all be in the same tower. Means that I'm only actually going to have to unwrap this one time. Okay, now let's open my UV editor again, and what I'm going to do is just open my folders for what I'm working on over here. And someone's changed my thing, so it makes an annoying beeping sound. Never mind. Right, so this is tower 2, I believe. Yes, it is. So tools, render UVW template, render out. I'm going to call it tower 2. No, it's not in the right place here. On tower 2, there we are. Tower 2 UV template as a JPEG. There we go. And now what I can do is go over here, and I want to pull in my parts that I use a lot of. So I'm going to go over to my development folder, and I want to go into here, get them. And then I want to go and get, let me see, I want to go and get my tower 2. There we go. So that's got. Right. Now obviously from this I'm going to create all my other maps. So let's have a look at this. We've got a couple of areas that I'm going to want to separate out. First things first, let's get the wand tool ready. Then Control Shift I, same as before. Make ourselves a new layer over here. Turn off this background and then do a fill. And oh look, someone's been on my Photoshop again. Fill, there we are. Control D. And, oh, that's not right. Get my wand tool. Turns out that's going right to the edge there. Control Shift I, do it again. Okay, and then I can use my brush tool over here. Well, fill bucket tool. Like that. Now what I'm going to do is take this bit here. And delete it, or move it or something. So let's make sure I'm only getting this bit. 1, 2, and then this bit. Like that. And what I want to do is layer, new, layer via cut. Okay, so now we've got that layer and that layer. And we're going to start giving them names. So layer properties, tower top. I still use underscores because I'm old school. And this one will be tower outer. And let's see if I just turn that back on again, and I can see that I want this part here, which is the tower protruding rim. And to go with it, I'm probably going to want this. Okay, so these become a new layer in their own rights. I'll take them from tower outer. So layer, new, via cut. Okay, so now it's separating them all off, as you can see. So we have this part, and this part. And this is going to be, let me see, tower crenellations. Probably spelt wrongly. I'm sure there's 2 L's in crenellations. Soon find out. I'm sure someone will tell me. Okay, and then let's take that away, turn on that, and make sure I'm in the tower outer area. So I want to separate the windows this time. Up there. And there. And there. Huh, itchy eyeball. Stop it, you. There we go. Okay, and file. Oh, sorry. Layer, new. Layer via cut. Stick it up there. And that'll be layer window frames. Cool, just hide that again. And from the window frames we can then create probably the actual windows. Make sure that top layer is selected. And let's see, new layer from cut. Windows, there we go. Okay, so now we've got all our parts here. Don't really need that one. Zoom out, and we can see each individual component as we remove it, which is cool. Now then, for the tower top, that's going to be the same as the tower crenellations. I'm going to be using this grey stone. So Control A, Control C, and there we are. Just going to put this here. Just make sure it covers the entire piece, which it does. And then right click, create clipping mask. There we are. It's all in the right place even. Now then, this grey stone, this base wall, a bit large, so image. Image size, I'm going to make it 50% on each, so I'll constrain the proportions. There we go, Control A, Control C. And if I just hide that and those, I can see which part I need to apply this to. Just layer them up. There we go. Control E, just to make it a single layer. Then right click and create clipping mask. And then I can just adjust this to my heart's content. There, I think that is probably going to work better, because if you look, this basically makes it into a tiling texture, which is cool. Okay, now if I go over to my tower crenellations, so I'll just make that invisible again. Actually no, I'll make it all visible. There we go, tower crenellations. And I can either just basically make this a plainish concrete, or I can go with what I've done before, which is this layer. So I'll get my grey stone, Control C. Good old minimalistic texturing. Control V. And again. And again. Then just collapse it into one. And make a clipping mask. There we go. Now for the window frames themselves, which are here, I'll turn them on. I'm just going to make them into a simple grey. So I'll just use my measure tool to find a nice grey here. And then I can just fill them. And then over here, hang on, I haven't finished filling these yet actually. Only filled one. Over here where these windows are, if I just get nice and close, I don't really want black. Let's make it a slightly lighter grey. There we go, and I can darken it at the top and bottom just to give the effect of mess just by using the burn tool. And I can do the same really for the window frames too, just add a little bit of definition to those. Go into here, into this layer, just do that. Just a simple kind of fast mess to put onto this. And if I turn on my background and my tower top here, drop the opacity a bit, just so I can see where the edges are, I can basically go around here. Just do that. Okay. Bring that out again. Turn that off. And turn that back up to 100. And I'm going to save this. So File, Save As. I'm going to call it Tower to Basic Texture, because that's what it is. Then I'm going to save it as Tower to Diffuse as a target. There we go. And then, you can't see the buttons I've got at the bottom of the screen, but obviously it's time for undo. So I'll get my top layer. Make sure everything's saved. Go endo. Not now. Later maybe. There we are. Give it a minute or two. Presets, stone wall again, from the active, have a nap. So many copies. You can see kind of what it's doing, sort of, as it starts to assemble them. Hey, hey, hey. So, how are you doing today? As you know, I hate pausing. Maybe I just hate reaching for the pause button. I don't know. It's nearly finished. There we go. Nice. Okay, so let's see. Drop the crisp detail. Maybe up a bit. Just tweak it a little bit here. Should do. Chunky. Of course I wouldn't have the normal map that deep, that's not the point. Yeah, we get the point. Okay. So this is our what do I call it? Just here, our normal map. So I'm going to file and save as tower to normal. Didn't listen, did you? You're going to save as tower to normal. And call it a target. And then from this I can convert it to ambient occlusion specular, which is cool, from this document here. So just give it a few more minutes now. As you know, if you've been watching all the other ones, it will now create a height map. Well, displacement map, you know what I mean. Displacement map's cool. There we go, nearly done. Isn't it fun? Okay, so now we have our ambient and specular, which as usual we can adjust as we see fit. Pull that down a bit, there we go. So, Control Shift S, and this will be tower to specular in the target format. And this will be, that looks fine, this will be tower to ambient. So Control Shift S, tower to ambient rather than ambient. Great joke there for the Americans. Or anyone else who knows what ambient is. Okay, close that down and get rid of this. If you want to keep your working textures, you can, but they're just retardedly easy to regenerate anyway. What I want to do as well, while I think about it, is just hide off all my other layers except for this one and create a new layer here, which I shall fill. And then I can file, save as, tower 2, and this can be emissive. Okay, so a nice simple emissive as well. Okay, that's where the light comes from. Right. Cool. Let's turn all these back on. Turn that off. Nice. Control S. Right then, what I need to do now is load up DDO. So I'm going to click the D button. Yo DDO. Okay, as before. Good God, I'm tired. I'm just going to use the automation hub, which saves colourblind fools like me from having to do too much. Go into quick load. Go to tower 2. I don't think it needs the emissive, so I'll not bother with that. I'm going to take this down obviously to madly worn. Although I could also use quick and dirty. Well, I like quick and dirty. Why not? I'll use quick and dirty for a change. It's still grey shades. So we can match materials by the weight, colour or brightness. I think I'll just match by weight still. And mash D. And now I'm going to pause. See you in, well, seconds for you. Minutes for me. Well, I've got to admit that's nice. I really do like that. So here is our quickly created textures. And if I go here to my, hang on a second, I'm just going to open it in the other one. DDO, you can see it's already saved it in tower2/tower2 underscore DDO. I can export all these as soon as I'm happy with them, so that's not really an issue. To be honest, I feel quite content looking at this. I can preview it though, so if I go to my toggle preview it, and that'll show me the kind of, it's busy exporting it at the minute by the way, which is why it takes a minute, as you can see. There we go. It's really pretty. I love this tool. I really like just playing around with the previewer, to be honest. So, just looking at the pretty things it makes. It's sad, but true. It is nice. Whee! Like I say, you can change your various things here, including turning off post-processing if you want. But press tab for info. There you go. And you can also toggle your diffuse, your specular, your gloss, and your normal. See? Normal. Just lovely. Anyway, I'm going all silly, aren't I? If I quick export my checked maps, you'll now just save them all out. And if I've done that, it obviously exports them all as diffuse, normal, specular, and I still have my other ones that I need, like ambient and so on, so that ain't no problem. Lovely, that is. Sorry, I'm just getting carried away. Right, so what I can do is go over here, and if you want to just see what it looks like quickly, obviously just make yourself up a quick material. Wait patiently while it loads. Maps, bitmap, and tower 2. Well, there's our original diffuse there, but we can use that one instead, which is much nicer. I'll just open it. Probably take a minute if it doesn't crash max. It's about 112 megs, which is a big file. In fact, I should probably have loaded the bitmap, but never mind. Collapse them layers. There you go. You can see it. Lovely, nice effect here. Little bit of seaming, but we can hide that anyway because I'm not planning on having the towers standing out on their own. Obviously, the lighting will not do very much at all at the moment of any interest because we haven't applied any normal maps actually directly to our object, but we can pretend we have. Yeah, it looks amazing. Right, I'm getting distracted anyway, I'm sorry. It's probably because it's so early in the day. So, Control S just to save this out, like that. And we should move on to the next model, I think. So till then, TTFN.